All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being on with me this morning. I'm excited because it's January 26th and we have a little bit more time to work hard towards our next 28-day reset. So during this power hour, that's my goal. Is I'm going to be messaging people, and I will give you the messaging as well, to message people for our next 28-day challenge. If you are not in ours, I hope the one currently, I hope that you'll join us for the next one, because the stories of success in there are really amazing, and not just weight loss success, but people doing hard things that they didn't think they could do before, that they are now doing. And so it gives them such confidence. And that is super exciting. Not only that, we see people who just overall their digestive system feels better. They're being consistent on their products, so that helps as well. And people who are just fitting a little bit better into their clothing already. And all of that stuff adds up to a really successful 28-day challenge that I just feel like it's going to just flow perfectly into our next one and be even bigger, because either people will fall over from this last month, and we'll see growth from new people joining because their belief is being built on what's happening in our group right now. So we're going to concentrate on that. But before we start, I want to touch on, if you were with us Saturday, Allison, Heather, and Nikki shared about the comfort zone, and just like what it means. Allison talked a little bit about the definition. I think she might be on. Yep. Hi, Allison. And if you were blessed by that, make sure you reach out to them and tell them so. I always feel like it's so good to hear from people who are not jewels, because then you feel like, you get them, right? And it feels really real. And sometimes it can feel like the jewels are so, we've already made it, even though we certainly don't feel that way, believe me. So much personal growth to do. And so it's just, so if you were blessed by that, make sure you reach out. But I wanted to reiterate something that Allison said that day. And that's the original definition of the comfort zone. It has really stuck with me. And so I want to pick it apart a little bit for us this morning. So the original gal was Judith Bardwick, and the quote is, she defines comfort zone as a behavioral, I can't say that word, state. So we know that behavior can be controlled, right? Not by, sure, it can be controlled by outside forces to a certain extent, but really, it's the person themselves that has that control. Like if you've raised any children, you know this. You've told them, put on your socks, and nothing happens. Like okay, so then you might incentivize, if you put on your socks right now, you will get a lollipop in an hour. I don't know. And still maybe nothing happens. So you're trying to control that behavior, but really the behavior comes directly from the child, right? Or maybe you threaten, put on your socks right now, or you're not going to get that lollipop later that we talked about, or whatever. So, so that means it's controlled by the individual. A behavioral state within which a person operates in an anxiety neutral position. And that is so key, because it's not that, it's like we all have a certain amount of anxiety we can handle, and then we feel like we're going to explode. I kind of feel like as we get further into just the societal changes we've had to make because of the virus, people like the anxiety is growing more, mostly because we don't want to live like this anymore, right? And so all of us have a certain threshold of anxiety, and we're comfortable within that, whatever that is. And we try to make it as neutral and as much as we can handle. And then when we go out of it, it causes an anxiety response or a fear response. And so we don't want to get out of that. So this morning, and Allison talked about capacity, like everybody has a certain amount of capacity. And so she wanted to expand her capacity, which I just thought was a brilliant way of thinking about it. So today I want you and me to work on expanding our capacity a little bit, and do it in a really non-threatening way, because we're talking about something that is super successful, the 28-day reset challenge. And because you can perform knowing that there's success behind you, it hopefully will reduce that anxiety in reaching out to people and expand your capacity because you know you're working with something that works. Okay. A couple of other things about comfort zone that I found that I thought I'd like to share with you. One thing that a particular author I was reading said about the comfort zone is that it actually triggers a negative mindset. And I thought, oh, that's interesting to me because we're always talking about mindset here in Plexus. So what does that mean? And this author was talking about that in life, idleness causes a negative mindset and attitude. How many times have you heard your kids say, I'm bored? I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. Mostly because they want you to give in and give them whatever you've taken away, which is most likely video games that you've taken away. And so they keep saying they're bored, they're bored, they're bored. My son does this. And you know what I have found? Boredom so often will propel him into some action or creativity because he's bored. But I've also noticed that sometimes boredom can really move him into being in a bad mood and he has nothing to do. So giving him assignments, having him do some chores, do some things around the house in a positive manner, usually with me, because then there's a community, type connectedness. So it helps the attitude a little bit, but idleness can lead to a negative mindset. And I thought, oh my gosh, how many times have I allowed life to get in the way of working my business? And so even though I'm busy doing other things, that idleness in my business makes me feel negative about my business. I want you to really hear that. So the idleness that I've allowed myself to have in my business, non-action that I've allowed to have in my business, then promotes a negative mindset about my business. And when I get on power hours and when I get on the coffee chats and when I get on the trainings and I actually do some work, I suddenly, you can pull yourself out of it. Or if I set a 15-minute timer and I decide I'm going to work for 15 minutes today and get as much done as I can in 15 minutes, your mindset about your business completely changes. And so I just love that. So the people who choose to be in their comfort zone, and yet they may endlessly complain and react instead of being proactive and do something. So how many times have I heard, and I've said to myself, I'm stuck. And really that comes from idleness and not being willing to go outside my comfort zone. Okay, comfort zone causes lack of drive and purpose. So I loved that because it talks about it in this particular paragraph, that being focused creates energy and movement. So today you're going to be focused on getting people into the 28-day reset challenge. And maybe your goal can be to get one positive response, or maybe you can do the opposite and do a go for no, get 5 no's or something like that for the 28-day reset in February. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pause on all that. I'm going to copy and paste some messaging for you to send to people and about the 28-day reset in February. Now, here's one thing I want you to, we talked about this on Saturday. How many times have you got a message to the same 10 people because you know what the same 10 people are going to say? You're going to do your best and do your best to go to expand your capacity and to message people who are not on that 10 people who always tell me no. All right. So it gets very comfortable. Isn't that interesting how no can actually become comfortable? Isn't that fascinating? I mean, it is the first word that most toddlers come up with, besides mama and dada. So it's no. And they become very comfortable with that. And we can too, believe it or not, even though we hate to hear no, when we hear the same no from the same 10 people, it stops bothering us. So why can't we move that into being okay with other no's? You guys, it's about you offering the opportunity and then it being in their court, their ball to do with what they need to do, say yes or no. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer for 15 minutes and I'll put some messaging here in the chat. I'm gonna do 16 minutes so I can get that stuff started. All right, here we go. I got to grab it off my document over here. And just in case you do get a yes immediately because someone is on Facebook or Instagram right now, I'm going to put the video response below here as well. I'll just put it all. Okay, that is 15. All right, I think we already had a success. From Kristen. Well done. Awesome. That was really fast. That's fantastic. The response, Kristen, is up there, like what video to send, and then what you can say after they watch it. So this is a really, and we've got some graphics too if you need one. I might be able to copy and paste one in the thing. I'm not sure. I'll try. But anyway, don't just trust your just trust yourself. Like, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and it sounds like this might be a right person for you. So just follow that. Do you need to join on the URL link? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, Christy. Ask Amber.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I want to share something with you really quick before we get into our next section. And then I will do, if I hopefully will remember to do a little giveaway to anybody who's left at the end here. So a couple more things about comfort zone. So one of the reasons we decide to stay in it is because we know exactly what we can expect from each situation, which of course goes back to you getting the same 10 no's from the same 10 people, right? It's really a fear of the unknown, like not knowing how it's going to, oh yeah, the link to your site. You need to put in your own link. Yeah, make sure you do that or it'll send them to Plexus Worldwide. And then I always like to send my ID too, honestly. By minimizing uncertainty, we feel that we have everything more or less under control. Like, we can control in our heads, oh, we know they're probably going to say no, and we're comfortable with that. So we believe we're safe. And then sometimes we do feel like, let's say you go and you send those 10 messages to those 10 people who have said no over and over and over, and one of them comes back with a yes this time. There's a little anxiety even involved in that. But look, you lived through it and you got something great from it. So if you could logically place your brain in the fact that doing something outside of your comfort zone and outside of those 10 people, look where that might get you, right? Okay, let's examine a few facts about comfort zones. First of all, for everybody, it's different. There's nothing that says this should be or shouldn't be in your comfort zone, which means you have control over it, right? You have control over that comfort zone and what you decide is going to be in it. They're made up of personal choices. There are no standard requirements. And many people actually kind of don't believe that they even, quote, exist, because it's really just a matter of fear and where you're willing to push the limits on that. But one thing I want to give you a tip as you start to move outside your capacity. Like, let's say that posting is really difficult for you, or like sending a message, like you don't know what to say after somebody says yes or something like that. And you maybe rewrite the message like 5 times before you send it. I'm going to tell you a little something about perfection. It can, like that desire to be perfect, it can really lead to misery. I was really kind of honed into this the other day when I was asking my daughter about someone at school, and because I had seen him there, and I said, oh, and he was in their theater group and so on. And I was like, oh, how are you friends with him? Blah, blah, blah. And she goes, no, he's a really angry person. And I said, oh, I was so surprised. Like, just, I know him a little bit, know his family, blah. I was so surprised at this response. And so I said, really? Well, why do you think he's so angry? And she said, because he wants to be perfect. And he wants everything he does to be perfect. And he works so hard on the perfection that it makes him angry and miserable. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like, how many times do we like give up or are paralyzed because we can't do something perfectly, or we don't start at all or do it at all? How many times have you said, okay, I'm going to work for a half an hour on my business today, and I'm going to send out 10 messages, and you sit there and you don't do anything, and you scroll and you look at the news and you comment on people's stuff, and maybe you make your post, but you don't do anything outside of actual productive work, right? And that's maybe it's because you are fearful of being, of not doing it perfectly. And then you get so upset with yourself, and then you beat yourself up, and then you're like, oh my gosh, my business is stagnant, my business is stuck. And really what the problem is that you've just been in action in idleness. So it just is. So if you can just sit and think about your motivations and where they're coming from. I just thought it was so insightful that she didn't really think he was an angry person in general, but his desire for perfection and his expectation of himself was so crazy that in the process of perfecting his craft, he was miserable because it was like it would never get there. In fact, she went for an audition yesterday, and she got in the car and she cried like she does after every single audition. And so I said, how'd it go? She said, well, this part went great. This part could have been better. And I said, how would you have responded if the part that could have been better was perfect? She goes, I would have still cried because I still would have expected more of myself and criticized what I had done. Exactly. Like, when is enough enough? And so knowing that about herself, she told me she said, I was going to give myself the entire evening to grieve and be upset. And I decided I would just give myself 30 minutes. And I mean, her behavior, the 16-year-old, by the way, was like that change. Just proof that we have control over ourselves. Like a person who's been alive for 16 years can decide, I'm going to be upset for 30 minutes and that's it. And truly, you guys, like, no bad mood the rest of the day. Like, sometimes we can tell ourselves that, we can try and get ourselves out of it, but we're really in a bad mood. No, like, she was truly done being upset and was totally fine. That's amazing, right? Isn't that incredible? So it just goes back to show, again, as we expand our capacity and expand our, comfort zone, that we truly do have full control. It's just so much easier to blame everything else. It's just easier, makes us feel a little bit better about ourselves. So, okay. All right. I'm going to stop talking about comfort zone and all this stuff. And we're just going to expand our capacity a little more. So we'll do another 15 minutes, do your messaging, make sure or maybe you need to put your post up for today. Get comfortable. If you need to read those messages over and over in order to get comfortable, then do that. Like, and look, if you're fearful to reach out to someone, chase the decision down. So let's say you have, I don't know, somebody who would really love this, but you're so intimidated by them for whatever reason, and you really don't want to reach out, then chase the decision down. If I send this message, what could happen? Well, let's chase down the no. How am I going to feel? How am I going to act? Let's chase down the yes. How am I going to feel? How am I going to act? Examine the decision. No, don't take too long. Take 30 seconds. Examine it down the road. Just make you know what I mean? Like, follow the decision. And it's not that bad. It is not that bad. Okay, let's get started. I'll set the timer for the 15. Here we go. All right, we have about 5 minutes left, so keep going. Okay. That is 15 minutes. So if you're finishing up something like I am, go ahead and finish up. Okay. And while we do that, I'm going to put everybody's name in my little raffle thing here. All right. I hope you guys had a good power hour. Thank you so much for being on with me. I'm going to do this right now. So give me just 1 second. I have 4 minutes to put everybody's name in. So hold on. Sorry, I was doing my own business and Plexus business. I guess I should have been doing this. Or do I do a giveaway right now, Amber? Or do I do it later and then reach out to somebody so I can let people go?
I've done a few things. Like you could just tell them to like go to Team E's reminder and post like a win or something like that to be entered into the raffle.
Oh, okay. So I don't have to do what I'm doing right now, even though I'm almost done?
Well, just do what you're doing then. I'm sure they'll hang on.
Okay, I'm almost done. Oh, hold on, hold on. Nope, nope, nope. I got a few more. Hold on. Lots of you guys on. Thank you. Sorry, sometimes I have to move my little thing here to almost through. And I think I got everybody. Okay. It's going. And Anna, you are the winner. Yay! Okay, message me and then I'll send you a gift card, okay? I want your email. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being on. I'm doing another one tonight. So if you want to come work again tonight, come work with me. Let's get a lot done today. All right, have a great day, everybody. Bye.